whenever you start talking about 3 segments or these kinds of deals, there's always an exception to it. But I think generally speaking, just looking over life and the guys that I've watched in leadership and looking over my own life, I think roughly there are 3 20-year segments in our lives. And you got to know where you are in those segments. I think early on, your early 20s to about 40-ish, right in there, is that season of learning. It's not that God's not using you. He's using people in significant ways. But it's at that point He's developing a spiritual address in your life, a catalog of experiences. You're discovering who you're not, and you're getting greater confidence in who you are. There's a catalog of lessons that's driving that foundation down. And so it's a great time of learning. Then, 40-ish to about 60 or so, right in there, I call that a season of leveraging. You're not as afraid of people like you were before. You've seen God use you, and you've weathered some storms, and your gifts take on flavor and substance, and it's a time, generally speaking, of great fruitfulness. Now, here's where I think we blow it. When you get in that season of around 60 or so, maybe even late 50s, you're stepping into that season of leaving, and I don't mean quitting the ministry, but changing the way you look at yourself. You got more out of the rearview mirror than you do in front of you. And it's that essence time, it's that rhythm of life that you've got to embrace. It's that patriarch period in your life where you have to intentionally stand back, and your ministry has to intentionally focus on multiplication and giving things away and creating a platform and extending the blessing and putting people on your shoulders and not think that you're the center of attention. And it's that time I see a lot of leaders, a lot of pastors are blowing it. And now don't get me wrong, we got a lot of energy. I'm still a pastor. I'm 68 years old, and I still got a lot of energy and all that stuff. But I do realize, I realize that, hey, look, this is not about me. I've got to create a runway for other younger leaders, and I've got to extend whatever blessings God's given to me. I've got to intentionally pour it in them so that I don't waste that equity. And there comes a tipping point where you actually stand in the way of God's favor on your ministry because you refuse to embrace that moment.